Hello children. We understood the derivation of principles of management as per how are they formed. Today we shall throw light upon two management pioneers. And why? Because they are the ones who have formed such principles of management. Well, they are not the only ones who have worked in the field of management. There are many others also. But as per our CBSE syllabus, we have only these two, and that is why we shall learn about them. Okay? Now, the first management pioneer that I shall talk about is Frederick Winslow Taylor. That is F.W. Taylor. He is commonly known as F.W. Taylor. Okay? But the full name is Frederick Winslow Taylor. And second is Henri Fayol. Now, when I talk about Frederick Winslow Taylor and Henri Fayol, the most interesting thing is that they both did engineering. One in mining, that is Henri Fayol, and the other one in mechanical, that is F.W. Taylor. And both were interested in deriving the principles of management, in the working of the organization. But still there was a basic difference. And what was that? F.W. Taylor was focused on, or rather he was interested in the working of workers at the lower level. His focus was on the factory level, the shop floor, okay, that is the workers area where the entire operations are going on. Whereas Henri Fayol was focused on the administration part of the organization, that is the top level and the middle level. Okay, so if you talk about these two, you can clearly segregate that of the three levels of management, F.W. Taylor was basically focused towards the lower level of the organization of the management. And Henri Fayol was basically focused towards the administration, so at the top level, and also the work that is happening at the middle level. Okay, so it was very clear bifurcation. Now, let me first talk about F.W. Taylor. As you can see, we've written father of scientific management. F.W. Taylor is also known as father of scientific management. Why? Because he said that whatever work is going on in the factory, for each and every such task, there is one scientific way of doing it. So the best way of doing a particular task should always be known. Okay, so he had believed in creating standards. So if there is a task, then how will it be done? In how much time should it be done? What all actions should be there while doing that particular task? For everything there is a particular standard, and it should be derived out of various experiments. So that is how he involved science in the working at the lower level. And that is also the reason why we call him the father of scientific management, who believes that for everything that is done in the organization, there is always a best way of doing it. So, by deriving such scientific ways of working at the factory level, he reshaped the entire factory system. He came up with not only principles, okay, he also came up with various techniques as per how a particular thing should be done. Clear? So, when you talk about F.W. Taylor, your focus should be completely at the lower level of the organization, because F.W. Taylor believed that if the work goes wrong at the lower level, then the top level and the middle level cannot help it. The organization will never be in profits if the actual operations at the lower level are not taken care of, because your so-called efficiency and effectiveness first should come there, and then it can generate basic revenue for the organization. Now, second is Henri Fayol. Henri Fayol, as we just said, focus on administration, top level, middle level. And Henry Fayol was known as father of general management because his basic aim was to understand how the administration is working in an organization. He believed that if the administration works in an appropriate manner with proper policies and procedures, only then the work can happen properly at all other levels of the organization. If the top level goes wrong, then the middle and the lower level will always go wrong. They can never go in the right direction. Why? Because they are led by the policies which are created at the top level. Okay? And it is interesting for us to know that it is Henri Fayol who had given us four main functions of management: planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. So in the previous chapter, when we understood various functions of management, then of those, certainly there was staffing also involved in it, if you remember. So that was a bifurcation of directing. Okay. So if I remove that staffing, your planning, organizing, directing, and controlling, these functions were given by Henri Fayol. And Henri Fayol has given 14 principles of management. And these 14 principles of management we shall learn further in this particular chapter. There's one more thing that I want you to know. You know, Henri Fayol was the one who had bifurcated the operational activities into various departments as commercial, financial, mechanical, etc., etc. So he had also bifurcated the activities that are going on in the organization. He had also given us various functions of management. Apart from that, the 14 principles of management. Okay? So this is all that we need to know about our two management pioneers, that is F.W. Taylor and Henri Fayol. So as per your CBSE syllabus, this is what you need to cover when you think about these two men, okay? F.W. Taylor and Henri Fayol. Now further in this chapter, we shall learn about the principles given by Henri Fayol and the principles and techniques given by F.W. Taylor. Okay, so first we shall start with Henri Fayol principles and then we will move on to the techniques and principles of F.W. Taylor. I hope you've understood about these two pioneers. Okay, why are we basically gathering information about them? What is the basic difference when we talk about these two and how are they related to an organization? I hope these questions are answered in your mind. If there is any doubt, please raise your questions, ask me at the personal window and give me the feedback. Okay, from tomorrow we shall start with the principles of Henri Fayol. Thank you, children.